What's up, guys? I'm BTC. If you have Helldivers 2 on Steam and you're upset with the PSN Sony fiasco, you can go and request a refund. And guess what? Steam and Valve are now making refunds regardless of how many hours you have played. At first, they were limiting it to the standard 1 to 2 hours or whatever it is, but now, because this whole thing has kicked into high gear, Valve and Steam seem to know which way the wind is blowing, and therefore they are granting refunds of players that have even over 100 hours of gameplay time. They are getting refunds because of this. This is a disaster, and Valve and Steam want to make sure they are on the good side of it, apparently, and that is why they're giving out the refunds. There are some things that you need to put into your refund request. We'll get to that in just a second. Taking a quick look at what's happening on Steam, you can see that it is now overwhelmingly negative. This is the fastest I've ever seen a game company destroy itself. This is amazing. Blizzard has well known for destroying their own content, and we saw this with World of Warcraft and Overwatch, but that happened over time. It was kind of more of a slow destruction. This is like flipping a switch. It went from, Helldivers 2 went from being extremely popular to now unbelievably hated because of the stupidity of not just Sony, but also Arrowhead Studios, who absolutely were complicit in this. So you've got, over the last couple days, 226,000 negative reviews. That almost completely wipes away the total number of positive reviews. And it's just incredible. I mean, they had such a popular game. They were making money hand over fist. They had a huge amount of player support and player loyalty because for one of the first times in a very long time, the game had an in-game currency that wasn't predatory, right? They weren't asking you to spend $20 for a slightly color-changed palette swap weapon skin, right? You could get all sorts of cool stuff for extremely cheap, and you only had to play a couple missions in order to get enough super credits in order to buy whatever you wanted to in the store. It was very easy. You could just play the game and unlock all that stuff. And then the War Bonds had a bunch of cool stuff too that, again, they were spaced out far enough where you could just simply play the game, collect super credits during the mission, and then unlock the new War Bond, right? You didn't have to spend anything, but if you did, and if you wanted to spend money, it was very cheap. People felt that it was a reasonable amount to charge. It wasn't $20 for a skin, it was about $1.50. So much better. But again, they've completely destroyed all of that goodwill, is just now totally gone. On top of that, Sony has now updated the list of countries where you're not allowed to buy Helldivers, and here's the problem with this. All of these countries are not able to create PSN accounts, but the people who lived in these countries that have already purchased the game, you're just out of luck, right? So if you lived in any of these countries and you request a refund, it should be going through absolutely no matter what, because you are going to literally be locked out of your game and you won't be able to play. However, even if you live somewhere else, like the United States or Canada or most of Europe, you should still be able to get a refund, and again, we'll get to that in a second here. But it gets even worse because even if you are in one of the countries where you're allowed to make a PSN account, apparently there are a bunch of those countries where you can only make a PSN account if you own a PlayStation console. You're not allowed to make a PSN account through the internet. You can't use a computer or a phone or a tablet, none of that stuff. You must own a PlayStation console in order to actually make a PSN account. This was revealed to us from the stream.
If they will not change this, not all allowed countries are actually allowed if they don't own a PS4 or PS5. Ukraine, one of examples. This is what I got from local support. Basically, you too poor to play. Thank you, Helldivers 2, Arrowhead, and Sony, for not better disclosing that the game will be locked from me if I don't own a console. I didn't even get the link account window at start, and it seems to be a trend that people that surely would get locked were the ones to not get it. Good day. Thank you for contacting PlayStation Network User Information Center. In response to your request, we would like to inform you that the registration of an account of the region of Ukraine is only possible through the console itself.
That was Jason Hall. You've probably seen him show up in your shorts feed at some point or another. He's the game director at an indie studio responsible for the game Heartbound. He has some pretty good stories about the scummy game companies that he's worked for, like Blizzard. But anyways, continuing on to the point at hand, go to Steam, request your refund. And when you put in a refund request, you need to be very specific. You need to say something along the lines, here's an example of one of the refunds that has gone through. Sony has retroactively changed how the game works and forced legal agreements upon me I do not accept. This player had 97 hours, way beyond the normal limitation, and yet it was approved. This refund was approved. This person is getting his money back. And when we look at the total cost here, $39.99, that leads me to believe that this person lives in the United States or possibly Canada or something like that, because of the price. It matches what we have. It would have been some other amount if it was in one of the European countries or somewhere else. So it doesn't appear that this refund was granted to someone that lives in one of the the excluded areas, one of the excluded countries where you can't actually make a PSN account. This is someone who could have made one and just doesn't want to and is getting a refund. So that's very important to know. And when you make this refund request, make sure you put it in there. Say, they changed the rules. I do not accept these changes. And they're now making it so that I cannot play the game unless I accept all this extra nonsense, which I do not accept. So give me my money back. If you do that, you should get a refund. However, in the event that it still gets denied for whatever reason, you can put in a support ticket. Tell them that you have a problem. Don't say that you want a refund. Instead, say, I have a problem with this game or I'm running into some issues. That way, you will get to talk to an actual person at Steam, and then you can explain the situation, and then hopefully you can get your refund through that way. If for whatever reason the automated system or whatever ends up denying you, you can still go through and plead your case with an actual human being and get your money back. Because this is ridiculous. Now, I'm going to be completely blunt with you guys. If Arrowhead Studios and Sony don't reverse this decision, I will not be making Helldivers 2 content after the requirement goes into effect. I will be requesting a refund, and I will stop making any content on this game. I do not need these videos for my livelihood. I have another YouTube channel that I use for my livelihood. I make TV show and movie reviews, and I also have another business that I run that helps with my livelihood. I don't need these videos on this channel. I do it because it's fun. I haven't made prior to Helldivers 2, I didn't make any new videos on this channel for over 6 months, and that's because I used to make content on Overwatch 2, and Overwatch 2 just died because Blizzard is run by a bunch of morons, and they destroyed their own game, so I just stopped making content on this channel altogether. And now that Helldivers 2 is here, I enjoy the game, I thought it was really fun, and I wanted to make some videos for it, and that's great, but if they push this through, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to stop, I'll uninstall the game, I'll get my refund, and I'll move on. And maybe I'll have a different game to make videos about at some point in the future, but otherwise I'm just going to go back to my other channel where I'm making TV show and movie reviews and dealing with that and deal with my other businesses as well. I don't need this channel. So, no, I am not going to continue making content for this game if they push this stupid requirement through. I'm going to get my refund, and you absolutely should do the same.